The War of Currents was a pivotal conflict in the late 19th century between two competing methods of electricity transmission and distribution, Thomas Edison's direct current, DC, and Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse's alternating current, AC. This struggle was not merely a technical dispute, but also a battle for commercial dominance, public opinion, and the very future shape of electrical infrastructure. Thomas Edison, who had developed and heavily invested in direct current systems, believed in DC as a safer and more reliable form of electricity for urban and industrial use. Direct current flows uniformly in a single direction and was easier to understand and control with the technology of the time. But it suffered from a major limitation. It could not be transmitted over long distances efficiently. Electrical energy dissipated quickly in DC lines, making it impractical to power cities far from the generation site. To address this limitation, electricity generation stations had to be placed every mile or so, which was economically and logistically challenging. Edison's company, the Edison Electric Light Company, promoted DC vigorously and attempted to convince the public and investors that it was the safer option. Edison launched a campaign highlighting the dangers of alternating current, going so far as to publicly electrocute animals using AC to demonstrate its lethal potential. The intent was to portray AC as inherently dangerous and unsuitable for domestic and industrial use. This campaign, often sensationalized, became a form of early electrical fear-mongering, including the involvement of AC in the invention of the electric chair, which was publicized to reinforce the perception of AC as deadly. On the other side of the conflict, Nikola Tesla, an inventive genius and former Edison employee, championed alternating current. Tesla recognized the enormous advantages AC offered for long-distance power transmission. Unlike DC, alternating current reverses direction periodically, which allows it to be easily transformed to higher or lower voltages using transformers. This meant that electricity could be transmitted over hundreds of miles at high voltage, reducing energy loss, and then converted to lower, safer voltages for end users. Tesla's AC system was adopted and financially backed by George Westinghouse, an industrialist who saw the immense potential for a more efficient and scalable electrical distribution network. Westinghouse acquired Tesla's patents for the AC induction motor and other innovations, enabling them to build a competitive and technically superior alternative to Edison's DC infrastructure. The conflict intensified as both sides vied for contracts to electrify cities and industries across the United States. The competition extended to public demonstrations, marketing campaigns, and legal battles, with each side attempting to convince municipalities, investors, and the general public of the superiority of their technology. AC supporters argued that it was more economical, efficient, and versatile, capable of powering not just urban centers, but also remote factories and rural areas. AC technology also facilitated the development of hydroelectric power stations, as exemplified by the Niagara Falls project, which became a decisive showcase for AC's potential. The success of AC at Niagara Falls in the 1890s provided undeniable proof of its ability to transmit power over long distances, leading to widespread adoption and gradually undermining Edison's DC network. Technically, the war also highlighted the strengths and weaknesses of both systems. DC's major advantage was its simplicity and relative safety at low voltages, making it suitable for short-distance transmission and direct use in small-scale applications. AC's major strengths lay in its efficiency for long-distance transmission and its ability to power electric motors more effectively, which became increasingly important as industrial applications expanded. Ultimately, the War of Currents was not merely about electrical engineering. It was a clash of personalities, business strategies, and visions for the future of modern infrastructure. Edison's approach emphasized centralized control, safety, and incremental deployment, while Tesla and Westinghouse envisioned a decentralized yet interconnected system capable of meeting the growing energy demands of an industrializing nation. By the end of the conflict, AC emerged as the dominant standard for power transmission worldwide, largely due to its technical advantages, the successful implementation at Niagara Falls, and the strategic business acumen of Westinghouse and his team. DC, however, did not disappear entirely. It retained niche applications, particularly in electrochemical processes, telegraphy, and later in emerging technologies such as battery storage and electronic devices. The War of Currents had lasting implications for the development of the electrical grid, industrial expansion, and the public's perception of technology. It demonstrated how technological superiority alone does not guarantee success. Public relations, commercial strategy, and the ability to implement scalable solutions are equally critical. It also set precedents for the complex interactions between inventors, industrialists, regulators, and society in shaping technological adoption. The rivalry between Edison and Tesla, often dramatized in popular culture, symbolizes the broader tension between established interests and disruptive innovation, illustrating how individual ingenuity and strategic vision can transform society. The narrative of the War of Currents also reflects the early stages of electrical standardization, a process essential for the coherent and safe expansion of electrical networks. Lessons learned from this era influence not only the design of electrical systems, but also regulatory approaches, safety standards, and corporate practices in the emerging utility sector. Today, the War of Currents remains a defining episode in the history of technology, demonstrating the interplay of science, engineering, and human ambition. It underscores how the adoption of a technological standard is rarely purely technical. It involves negotiation, persuasion, and sometimes fierce rivalry. The resolution in favor of AC shaped the modern world, enabling widespread electrification, industrial growth, and the foundation for subsequent technological innovations. By examining this historical conflict, one gains insight into the dynamics of technological change, the role of visionaries like Tesla, and the impact of strategic industrial decisions that resonate even in contemporary discussions about energy, infrastructure, and innovation. The legacy of the War of Currents thus continues to inform how society balances safety, efficiency, and progress when adopting new technologies, illustrating that the competition between ideas can be as electrifying as the currents themselves. Moreover, the story of this struggle reminds us that innovation often requires courage, resilience, and the willingness to challenge prevailing norms, and that even in the face of opposition, revolutionary ideas can eventually prevail when they meet practical needs and demonstrate undeniable benefits, leaving an indelible mark on the course of human development and technological history.